Okay, I'll call the meeting to order, please. Meeting, please. Okay. I would like a motion, please, to adopt the agenda. Salt and Torgerson. Are there any additions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Motion, please, to adopt the minutes of the November 8th, 2016 regular meeting of council. Okay, and Reimer and Blanchette. Are there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 4.1. Presentation by Mr. Michael Lewis regarding a proposed festival. Good evening, Mr. Lewis, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear Mayor and Council, residents of Valemount, thank you for allowing me to speak before you today. Mayor and Council, I'm here to seek your support in principle for an undertaking I believe would greatly benefit our village and our surrounding communities. The craft beer industry is exploding. It's one of the 3 fastest growing industries in the province. One of the many avenues of exposing new consumers, or consumers and new consumers, to products and breweries is at beer festivals. There are over 50 festivals in BC that I'm aware of, and more starting every day. I believe since Valemount is home to its own little craft brewery, it should host its own festival as well here in the Valley. Hosting a beer festival will bring people here from all over BC and eventually Alberta as well, and potentially farther. If you look at the Great Canadian Beer Festival, it brings in people from as far away as Ontario. An excellent example of the popularity of these events is the Kiwanis Ale Fest in Prince George. I'm an organizer for that festival on the brewery committee. 3 years ago, I was approached by the organizing committee and asked to be on their beer planning subcommittee and organize the breweries. The founder of it, he built a plan, figured out the event he wanted to put on, and he put on a really nice event in the Two Rivers Gallery. It takes place the last weekend of January every year. In his first year, they sold 600 tickets in about 6 weeks. It was the first time. So it took them a little bit, but they kind of got it going. In the second year, they increased a tasting, increased the number by 300 tickets, sold out in 2 weeks. This year being their third year, they put tickets on sale October 15th. They added 100 tickets, so now they're at a total of 1,000, which maxes out their venue. They sold out in 7 minutes. So it's growing and it's very popular. We see taking this event to another level that few actually do. Because we're in such a remote location, coming for an event and going home will not be an option for the majority of festival goers. We would like to create a destination event that gives the festival goers the Valemount beer experience. We want to create an event that's built on a 2-night stay in Valemount. It would allow the attendees to experience other parts of our great valleys, such as river rafting, horseback riding, helicopter tours, jeep tours, our amazing mountain bike park, and one of BC's highest peaks. It's a great opportunity to raise the stock of this little highway stop in people's mind and let them know we have great adventure potential here. To pull this off, we need a place where we can grow the event without having to move venues in a few years. But more importantly, we need an inclement weather plan when we have this event. The airport offers both those options for us, and it's something we would like to explore as a site for this event. It will allow the event to find its full potential as it grows and to what I believe will be one of BC's premier beer festival events. We are seeking your support in principle in our efforts to create this awesome event here and to use the airport as our location. As well as Mayor, we hope that you would carry your support for this and our request up to the regional district as we move forward in the planning for this event. In closing, I would like to thank you for your time and attention in this matter and for your service to the community.
Thank you. Does council have any questions of Mr. Lewis? At this time, Councillor Reimer.
Yes, sir. What part of the airport grounds are you thinking of using?
Probably up on the tarmac near one of the hangars. It creates the opportunity. I haven't gone out there and done a full survey of it, but having the hangars there creates the opportunity for an indoor event and then an outdoor event. Plus the tarmac is a significantly easier area to clean up and ensure that it's policed to the aviation standard.
Go ahead.
Just a follow-up. If there was an emergency and we needed the runway, would that impede it anyway?
It would not. Everything could be done, in my belief, and established in such a way that you're clearly out of the airport runway environment.
Thank you.
Councillor Blanchette? That was my question. Oh, that was your question. Okay. Councillor Salt?
I know that we had used the airport for our Village of Valemount anniversary. We had the movie drive-in theater, and that was very well received and attended. So we obviously were able to make that happen. So I don't see why we couldn't be able to make something like this happen if we can make sure and follow all the aviation rules and make sure that our public safety is not impeded at all.
Mr. Simmons has a question.
If it's okay. Your worship, could you elaborate a bit more on the two-night concept for council?
Yes. So I've been speaking with Christine Latimer from the Best Western. She organizes a festival in Lethbridge, and her festival is not a beer festival. However, it is very similar. It's at an airfield. Her help with this, plus her being in the hospitality industry, has already helped me recage the idea around approaching some of our overnight lodging facilities, going to them and establishing packages, like a 2-night stay package along with an activity built around one of these events. I've already talked to several of the activity operators who are willing to piece in together to create a really well-priced package that gets you into the festival, gets you doing 1 or 2 activities while you're in town, and gives you a 2-night hotel stay. So if you show up on Friday, you have all Saturday morning till 4 o'clock, which is when the last river tour comes in, to get your activity done there. Go mountain biking. I believe we can organize with Varda, and they can organize to get a bike demo here, and we can have things going on in the mountain bike park as well. And then the festival starts around 5 o'clock in the evening. We operate a shuttle bus to minimize the number of drivers and hopefully zeroize the number of drunk, impeded drivers, I should say, or impaired. And organize it around creating a stay event where it's minimal impact in the realm of affecting the community space as far as our residents. Maximum impact when you talk about tourism revenue coming in for both all the businesses in the surrounding, and creating the exposure to Valemount that's going to bring more people in the future.
Councillor Salt?
So there is no intent to do similar as Dunster where there's camping on site. You will be encouraging staying at the
I believe
different...
that actually should exist. And the reason why is we have, my goal is to sell 500 tickets in the first year. If we bring in 500 tickets, I've done extremely rough numbers, but the potential money we can raise would be somewhere in the $20,000 to $30,000 area. And so if we do have the camping out there, I believe because it's the beginning of our summer tourism season, not everybody's going to get booked early enough. Not everybody wants to spend the money to have a 2-night hotel stay, but the best deal they're going to get for all the other adventures will be built around that. And they will have the opportunity for camping because there's going to be drive-in at the gate tickets as well, with probably a limit the first year of 600, but my goal is to have 500 with about 250 of those tickets sold in packages.
Councillor?
you could make sure and also build in a package though that supports the local RV parks,
Oh, completely, no,
right?
for sure.
Because you don't want to, just focus on just the hotels and hotels.
No,
Make
it's...
sure that local campgrounds aren't going to be.
No, the idea is that I intend over the course of the next month to go around to all of the hotels, to all of the RV parks, to all the places where there's potential lodging, to include the bed and breakfast, and figure out, A, who wants to be involved, because I know that there are some of the businesses in town that people book up, close to 6 or 8 months in advance. And so knowing that I'm trying to kind of get this rolling so that we can actually sell tickets by the end of January and see what we're gonna get going. I want to get around to these local businesses and figure out what kind of packages we can build before we offer the potential of an on-site camping or limit the number of on-site camping sites to kind of help drive that business a little bit.
Thank you. Because my biggest concern with that is that we don't really have all the facilities to be providing water and sewer to campers at that site. And I don't think that our airport hangar should be being used for that.
The
either.
hangar would
That's-
not be used for camping in there at all. No, for sure. From what I understood, because I think I missed the celebration last year by 6 months when we moved to town. But from what I understood, that there was camping on or near the airfield there during that event. Is that not true? Okay.
Was there, Lori?
We did have a few.
I don't remember us doing that.
Your worship, that's something that we can work on.
Yeah,
That's part of
these
the-
are all things for where we're kind of at the planning stage. It's really starting the process, and this being the first step to know that we can get the support of the village and further on to the regional district.
Councillor Blanchette, you have a question?
Yes, is there, at a beer fest, there's limits to how much you can drink, or?
Well, their serving at right limit always applies, which is the case with everyone that's serving beer, because you all have to have your license and so forth. The other aspect is a lot of beer festivals are built on this 4-ounce sample, and all you do is walk from booth to booth to booth to booth, drinking 4-ounce samples. And if you've ever done that, you don't realize how much you're drinking, and therefore the intoxication level increases. I'm not a fan of that, because you're drinking beer so quickly that you don't really actually appreciate what you're drinking. And we did a festival, the Brew Loops Festival down in Kamloops this year, and their block party, it's the second year they've done it. And it's just an awesome event where you can go and have music. You get served a 12-ounce pour of beer. So you're walking around with an entire beer, and you're not selling somebody 50 tickets for revenue, like over the course of the whole thing. You're not selling somebody 50 samples. You're going to sell a person, 5 to 6 beers over the course of 6 hours, 5 hours. And so at that point, the overall level of inebriation is significantly lower than, I can tell you, from between doing the Great Canadian Beer Festival, where they're doing 4-ounce samples, versus doing the block party, 1% of the inebriated people in Kamloops versus there are in Victoria. Like, it's just a whole different mindset when you have music going, a band that's on stage, and you're there enjoying an event.
Councillor Reimer, did you have anything? And Councillor Saltmore?
No, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Torgerson, any questions?
Questions were asked?
Okay. At this time, I would just like council to consider that if it is council's wish to support the proposal, that our senior staff, Public Works, and RCMP be involved in the planning stages. Okay, that's... Okay, so I need a motion to receive. Blanchette and Salt. Is there any discussion under receipt? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. And what is council's wish? Councillor Salt.
I'll move that council supports in principle the organization of the proposed beer and music festival, working with our senior staff, Public Works and the RCMP and NAV Canada to make sure everything's in place.
Thank you. And seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favour? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. And agenda item 4.2, we have Jasmine Gasser, BC Ambulance Service Community Paramedicine Program, with a proposal and, information. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, Mayor and Council. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who I am. I'm Jasmine Gasser, and I have the new community paramedicine position in Valemount. It's a new initiative brought forth by several people in the province, or several stakeholders in the province. So it's a community-based model in which community paramedics provide primary care services within their scope of practice to increase access to basic health services in non-urgent settings in patients' homes or communities in partnership with local healthcare providers. So why it's being introduced in BC? The practice of paramedicine is transforming from an emphasis on pre-hospital emergency care to a model that includes prevention, health promotion, and primary health care. In 2014, the province of British Columbia committed to creating at least 80 new full-time equivalent positions to support implementation of community paramedicine programs. So Valemount has a 1.53 position, and that's me at this point. So this is a slide of the April 27th announcement of the provincial rollout. These are some of the partners and stakeholders, including Northern Health, Union of BC Municipalities, and the Ministry of Health. So all these stakeholders are getting together to create this new initiative. Some of the program goals include stabilizing paramedic staffing in rural and remote communities and bridging healthcare service delivery gaps in these communities. So we're just filling the gaps. We're not taking away, we're just going where the healthcare system is lacking. What it will mean for BC. It means better access to healthcare for rural and remote communities, paramedics working alongside other healthcare workers and professionals without overlapping roles, fewer gaps in healthcare services, fewer unnecessary 911 calls and trips to ERs, and improved recruitment and retention of paramedics in rural and remote communities. So there were many things that needed to be accomplished before community paramedics were hired and began working in their communities. These included regulatory changes so that we're able to leave patients in their home compared to an emergency service where we always take patients to the ER. Privacy impact assessments, orientation programs. So I just completed a 14-week orientation with the Justice Institute of British Columbia. Medical oversight models, clinical guidelines and processes, policy and regulation manuals. So there's a separate community paramedicine policy and regulation manual compared to my primary care paramedic manual and policy. CP field communication protocols, community selection model, and the evaluation framework. So implementation prototype projects. So the prototype communities were selected in cooperation with health authorities. The criteria is a combination of need and local infrastructure to enable a successful start to the program. It has since expanded to more rural remote communities such as Valemount. We anticipated regulatory changes will be made to support a broader scope of practice in the future. Implementation provincial rollout. Presently, it is expanding to 73 communities throughout BC. There is 80 full-time equivalent positions that have been, where they're hiring paramedics. Community paramedics are primary care paramedics with IV endorsement. Primary care services, they provide primary care services within their scope of practice and in partnership with the local health care providers. The rollout benefits from lessons learned in the prototype project. So the community selection, this is how they selected the communities that would get the community paramedicine positions. The criteria was was communities defined as rural, small, rural, and remote. Communities served by an existing ambulance station and ambulance stations with casual staff only. So that's our station in Valemount now has casual staff only and the one full-time equivalent position. These are all the communities that have or are getting community paramedic positions. So as you probably can't see it, but McBride is on there. They have a lady that is in the same stage as I am. And Blue River just hired a position recently, I believe. So we actually have 3 around us. So the CP rollout schedule. So the prototype communities were out in July of 2016, and then it rolled out into the northern BC, and that includes us, and I started in the beginning of August. Now they're working on the interior, and then they will be going to the island and Vancouver coastal communities. So stakeholder consultation. The community selection and resource models was received and endorsed by key stakeholders. These include health authorities, First Nations health authorities, and provincial advisory committees, and the ambulance paramedics of BC. So within the community paramedicine program, there's a speedometer to kind of guide us of where we should be and where we should be going. The speedometer shows the 4 key areas of service provided by community paramedics. This includes, first of all, community outreach and awareness, health promotion and encouraging patients to take responsibility for managing their own care and treatment. And then we move on to wellness clinics, where we will be assisting local health authorities in promoting health. And then we will go on to the wellness checks, where we are assessing patients in their homes on a scheduled basis for focusing more on preventative care. So the dual roles of a community paramedic and a primary care paramedic on car, so those are 2 different roles. The primary care paramedic is on car and the community paramedic is the home visits. So a community paramedic will perform the duties of a community paramedic. What that means is that if I'm with a patient and a significant event occurs, I will only leave the patient if it is safe to do so. It will depend on the condition of the client at the time of the event. It is at the discretion of every individual community paramedic. So we will still have our staffed ambulances to respond to emergency calls. It's not, if a call comes through and it's a major event, they can call me and I can say, no, sorry, at this time I can't respond to that call. So there is an evaluation to make sure that the program succeeds. The purpose of the evaluation is to inform BCEHS and its partners as to how well the Community Paramedicine Initiative is doing in achieving its own objectives, and more broadly, delivering services in alignment with the BC Ministry of Health and the BCEHS strategic plan. The Evaluation Advisory Committee is composed of representatives from partners and key stakeholders. So, there we go. Any questions?
Councillors, any questions? Councillor Blanchette.
It's not a question, I've heard about the program and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really excited that we're getting it in Valemount. That's great.
Thank you. So am I.
Thank you so much for the presentation. It was a quick slide, but of those 80 rollout communities, are they all kilo status stations?
So it's actually, I believe it's 73 rollout communities and 80 positions. So in some communities, they have 2.53, so they have people working 4 days a week. They are all casual stations. So all those communities, you have to be a casual station to get CP position, I believe.
Councillor Salt.
Thank you, Jasmine. I really appreciated the presentation, and I'm really excited and happy and pleased that we got one of them here, and happy for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Torgerson, you had another question.
Yeah, the community, the vehicle that the community paramedic uses comes equipped with emergency lights?
Yes.
Sirens?
Yes.
And is authorized for emergency speeds?
So not every community paramedicine position comes with a Code 3 vehicle, but the one we have here does and is equipped and comes with training to operate that vehicle.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your presentation. I'll take a motion, please, to accept the delegation from Jasmine Gasser of BC Ambulance Services. Okay, Councillors Salt and Blanchette. And are there any questions further or any comments or discussion? No? Hearing none? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 6.1, correspondence for action. Ms. Kim Thorne, potential development of Centennial Park. Recommendation that council accepts the correspondence from Ms. Thorne regarding potential development of Centennial Park, and 2, that the correspondence be forwarded to the Public Works Committee for further consideration. Could I have a motion, please? Torgerson and Salt. Any discussion?
Do you need two of those separate motions?
No, it just says and.
Okay.
The word, there's a conjunction and there, so. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Reading file. Aboriginal Housing Society of Prince George, new executive director. Recommendation that council accepts the reading file for information purposes. Okay, Blanchette and Reimer. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Administrative reports, 8.1, Christmas office closure. 1, recommendation that council approves a staff council potluck lunch on December 22nd at noon, and that council approves the office closure from December 22nd at noon through January 2nd, 2017, with the office reopening on January 3rd, 2017. Motion, please. Salt and Reimer. Is there any discussion?
May I add something?
Yes. Ms. McNee.
We discussed actually keeping the office open during the council and staff potluck, just so people could come in and keep it open.
Yes.
And closing only on December 23rd.
Okay.
That was the second option that didn't make it onto the agenda, sorry.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Any comments or discussion, council? No? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 8.2, official community plan update. Recommendation that the report be received for information, and that council supports the concept of an open house to start the official community plan amendment process. Blanchette and Salt. Any discussion? Do you have anything that you wish to add, Mr. Simmons?
I certainly can, Your Worship. As council gave us direction, several months ago now, to start looking at a housekeeping amendment. Carlene and I have spent quite a bit of time on it, and it's starting to shape up. What we would like to do is have a bit of an open house in here one afternoon. We're going to show what it is and what we propose. A lot of it is just very minor text amendments, and there's actually a number of them. A lot of it was referenced to the old Canoe Mountain proposal,
Okay.
where we're actually flopping it over into the Valemount Glacier
Okay.
destination, but we have to change the actual bylaw through that process. So we kind of thought we'd put a number of places up. People could look at what it is currently and what we're proposing. And there's very little dramatic change.
Okay.
So that's where step 1 is.
Thank you. Any questions, council? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 8.3, municipal auditor. Recommendation that council selects KPMG as the municipal auditor for a 3-year term with the option to renew for a further 2 years. Reimer and Salt. Is there any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 8.4, Northern Development Initiatives Trust Grant Writing Support Program. Recommendation that council approve staff to apply for the NDIT Grant Writing Support Program for the 2017 year, and that council approves partnering with the Valemount Community Forest for the Grant Writing Support Program for the 2017 year. What is council's wish? Okay, Torgerson and Reimer. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 8.5, Northern Development Initiatives Trust Business Facade Improvement Program. Recommendation is that council approve staff to apply for the NDIT Business Facade Improvement Program for the 2017 year, and requests that the Valemount Chamber of Commerce partner with the Village of Valemount for the Business Facade Improvement Program for the 2017 year. What is council's wish? Okay, moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillors Torgerson and Salt. Take your pick. Ms. Shepherd. Okay. And are there any discussions or any questions? Councillor Salt?
It's obviously been a very well-received program. It's been exciting seeing all the improvements that have been happening to a number of the different businesses. I think it's a wonderful program that's been offered and helps people fix up their businesses.
Yes. And it's an improvement. Councillor Blanch?
I've been in charge of this program, and we've done 14 local businesses over the years.
So good for you. Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Carried. Okay, bylaws and policies. Agenda item 9.1. The Village of Valemount Cemetery Amendment Bylaw number 760, 2016. Recommendation that this report be received and that council approves third reading of Village of Valemount Cemetery Amendment Bylaw number 760, 2016 as amended. Councillor Reimer and Councillor Blanchette. Okay, any discussion? Councillor Reimer.
I like the diagrams in the proposal. Are they going to be available to the public to be able to see the diagrams? And
Absolutely.
wonderful. Love it. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Salt.
I think this is a huge improvement, and it'll help clarify some misunderstandings and concerns that may have arisen in the past, and give people a little more flexibility as to what they can and can't do.
So I think it's well done, for sure. Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 9.2, Village of Valemount Policy Number 5, 2016. Recommendation that council adopts the policy as presented. Former policy number 5 will be rescinded, or that council adopts the policy with amendments to be put forth by council. Former policy 5 will be rescinded. What is council's wish? Councillor Torgerson?
Move number 1, your worship, that council adopts policy as presented.
Okay.
And number 5 be rescinded.
Seconder? Councillor Reimer. Any discussion? Councillor Salt.
I just have one question. It's showing an effective date of the original policy 5. Is that going to be remaining? And then it's going to have the amended date of this new amendment?
Okay, Ms. Shepherd?
I believe they're leaving the effective date of the original policy now, and then when we amend it, we'll put that as
date.
well.
Sounds good. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 9.3, Village of Valemount Fees and Charges, Bylaw number 762, 2016. The recommendation is that council approves third reading of Village of Valemount Fees and Charges, Amendment Bylaw number 762, 2016. Councillor Blanchette, you're moving the recommendation, and Councillor Salt seconded. Is there any discussion or questions? Councillor Salt?
One important note, no matter how many times I read these, all of a sudden catch something at the last minute. So in the actual bylaw itself, item 1, title 1.1, this bylaw may be cited for all purposes bylaw number 762, 2015. That should be 2016.
Your worship, my humblest apologies. Good catch.
Okay, that's corrected. Thank you. Anything further, councillors? Hearing none, all in favor as corrected. Carried. Agenda item 9.4. Village of Valemount Council Remuneration Bylaw number 763, 2016. Recommendation that council approves first, second, and third reading of the Village of Valemount Council Remuneration Bylaw number 763, 2016. Or that council approves first, second, and third reading of the Village of Valemount Council Remuneration Bylaw number 763, 2016 with amendments as provided by council. What is council's wish? Councillor Torgerson?
I move that council approve first, second, third reading of bylaw 763, 2016.
Okay, seconder please. Councillor Reimer? Any discussion? Councillor Salt?
So I see in the bylaw it's showing still the 2016 fees. Does that mean we are not doing a 2% increase?
I'm going to pass it to the expert, your worship.
Ms. McNee?
recommendation was to include a 2% increase in the report. So if that was accepted, I would change that for the next reading
Okay.
to have that. So maybe the recommendation should show with a 2% increase.
Okay.
And those can be changed for the following meeting.
I think that policy has been in place for quite a number of years with respect to the consumer price index.
Correct.
And it's not exactly giving a raise, it's just keeping you from falling back. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.1, council reports. And I'll start with Councillor Torgerson. I'll go backwards this time.
I had an extremely quiet 2 weeks, Your Worship. I have nothing to report.
That's because you've been so busy prior.
It's the last meetings of the month that it's my first 2 weeks that are
Busy.
Councillor Salt?
I had on Friday the 18th, the Trans-Canada Highway Association Board of Director teleconference meeting. And we had some very big discussions at that, and we're looking at some exciting plans to celebrate Canada's 150, but we're in the initial planning stages, so I'm not going to say anything further in case it doesn't happen.
Or they change their mind.
Or they change their mind, or the budget doesn't allow. So, and we're also looking at a strategic review starting in January. So,
Good. When is the AGM next year?
the date's not set yet.
Thank you. Councillor Reimer?
Been a quiet 2 weeks for me.
What, 2 weeks? Councillor Blanchette?
I've had lots of little meetings, but one of interest was I left for Prince George over the weekend for the Child and Youth Mental Health and Substance Abuse Seminar. It's in the collaboration, we're all divided into divisions, and so our division met and discussed the problems that all of the northern communities are having, and just put a face-to-face, and it was really, really well attended, great guest speakers, and very interesting. And I had an RVSS, Robson Valley Support Society meeting yesterday, I think. So.
Thank you. I had Regional District of Fraser Fort George last week, but a very shocking statement came to me, message. It's regarding Neil Muth, Trust Chief Executive Officer remembered. Neil Muth's contributions will live on forever. Columbia Basin Trust Board and staff, and as a board member I'm reporting this, and residents of the region join Neil's family in mourning the unexpected passing of Neil Muth, President and CEO. Neil will be remembered for his honest and sincere engagement with communities, his leadership and his commitment to supporting the efforts of the people of the Basin. The Trust Board and staff are deeply saddened. Neil was a friend, a mentor, and a leader to so many. He inspired us all to strive for excellence for the Trust and the Basin, said Trust Chair Rick Jensen. We mourn his loss and extend our deepest sympathies to his wife, Kathy, and 3 children, John, Emily, and Hillary. I'd like to express my sincere condolences to Neil's wife, Kathy, and the children, said Minister of Energy and Mines Bill Bennett. As a longtime resident of the Columbia Basin and as the Minister responsible for Columbia Basin Trust, I will be forever grateful for the knowledge, wisdom, and vision Neil shared with me on many, many occasions. Neil has been taken from us far too soon, but his contributions to the growth of the Trust and to the people of the Basin will live on forever. Neil joined the Trust in 2005. He was born and raised in Trail and was excited to return to the region from Victoria, where he served as Vice President, Private Placements for the British Columbia Investment Management Corporation. That excitement showed in his passion for and interest in every aspect of Basin communities, their projects and their aspirations, as well as the best places to ski, eat, and have a cup of coffee. Neil's accomplishments as President and CEO over the past 11 years are many, but his appreciation and respect for the Trust's mission statement are what truly defined his service. By ensuring the Trust built and delivered programs with residents and communities, by seeking out and responding directly to feedback and guidance from communities, and by being flexible and responsive to community needs. While he left us much too early, We will do our best to honor Neil by continuing to work closely with communities and people just like he did, added Jensen. The Trust Board of Directors will announce succession for the CEO role at a later date. In the interim, there are no changes anticipated in the Trust's day-to-day business activities. Neil passed away peacefully at his home on Wednesday, November 9, 2016. He was 57. Neil's family will hold a private service for their beloved husband and father and will also be establishing a scholarship fund in his name. Donations can be made to CIBC account number, etc., care of Columbia Basin Trust. Stories and messages and memories can be sent to condolences@cbt.org or to the Trust office. And I was on the board in 2005 when we hired Neil. And my own personal statement is that he was one of the most decent and honorable persons with whom I ever had the privilege to be associated. And I worked with him for another 5 years until I retired in 2010, and now back again. And he just did so much. He was a very strong advocate of the people of the basin and did all he could to improve the welfare and well-being of the communities. So he'll be sadly missed, and I should like council to consider, and maybe we can do this at the next council meeting, decide how much we should give to the scholarship fund that they've established for him. You know, we've received quite a few millions from CBT over the years. Okay, so that's my report. Motion, please, that council receives the reports provided by Mayor Townsend and Councillors Blanchette, Reimer, Salt and Torgerson. Okay, Salt and Torgerson. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Agenda item 12.1, outstanding council resolutions. Recommendation that council accepts the list of outstanding previous council resolutions. Torgerson and Reimer. All in favor? Or was there any discussion or questions first? Sorry. No? All in favor? Yes.
There's no resolutions that come up on our agenda, my agenda anyways. There's nothing there. Do you have a copy of everything? Everything's done, let's go home.
There's none.
Nothing left?
No, I don't know. I wasn't
Okay.
particularly paying attention.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that they are no different than they were last month. Maybe some have been completed. So all in favor? Carried. 14.1, public comment. Public comments on items considered by council as part of the approved agenda. Yes.
Eugene Jamin of Valemount, BC. I would make a recommendation for the beer committee that they also approach BC Ambulance. We have fixed wing activation, and as far as I understand, there is no access to the tarmac or the runway if there are people present. Now, that can be further clarified, and I mean it more as a challenge, but to be aware that there are limitations as far as safety. Thank you.
And I'm not supposed to comment at this time. However, I'm going to break our rules and say that with reference to the committee that I said to be established, that the ambulance representation be present as well.
So noted, Your Worship.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else wishes to speak at this time? Yes?
Rashmi Narayan, 66 Elm Street. Just a comment about the letter by Ms. Kim Thorne related to the Centennial Park, and I just wanted to say I support seeing more things happening in downtown, just with the developments that are proposed for the highway. I don't want to see the downtown businesses left behind, and especially the old school properties still undeveloped. There's a bit of a gap. So I hear the concerns, and I kind of support some kind of development at the park. And I mean, what happens, I mean, it depends on a lot of things, not necessarily purchase purposing, but I definitely see the need to consolidate and make sure that, downtown is developed as well.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Hearing none, I'll take a motion, please, to receive public comments. Blanchette and Reimer. All in favor? Carried. I'll take a motion now, please. 15.1. Notice to proceed in camera. Recommendation that council proceed to an in-camera council meeting for consideration of 2 items per section 91C of the community charter to discuss matters related to labor relations or other employee relations. Motion, please. Salt and Torgerson. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.